Let's go back to our monetary policy and CPI. That is the inflation figure in the UK, pretty much in line with expectations. The only thing I'm seeing a little bit below estimates is the CPI core, year-on-year 2.5 instead of the 2.6%. Month-on-month, look, for the month of December, 0.4. Again, we're just seeing a little bit of a kind of steady growth outlook, with a couple of houses saying that they have to revise downward because of Brexit, but nothing violent. And you can see actually on the back of the CPI data, that pound hasn't moved that much, currently at 137.69. Let's get the data. Let's get the view on the UK with Larry Hatheway from Gam Holdings. Larry, if you look at central banks around the world, so CPI, I guess the UK has a different problem to everyone else in the world, partly because of the weakness in pound. How do you see kind of the Bank of England dealing with Brexit? It's very difficult to do policy for something you don't know the exact impact it has on your growth.
Right. So as we know, the Bank of England popularized some years ago the concept of fan charts to look into the future. Well, those fans, particularly around growth, must be very, very wide indeed if you look out over the next few years, given the uncertainties of Brexit. And that complicates monetary policy to a great extent. I think the bank probably should be willing to see through the bump up in inflation that led to the overshooting. The moderation of the core number that you just mentioned a moment ago is probably an indication of that. The UK as an economy is now beginning to lag its G7 peer group, and that's to be understood in the context that there's going to be a weak investment backdrop until many of these central issues around Brexit get solved. And remember that the progress we've made in Brexit so far, as difficult as has been, the Irish question, for example, still is really the minor part of the deal that needs to be struck. It's really about access to the market, to the common market, both in goods, that is in trade, but also in services. That is the big issue for businesses looking at the UK as a place to invest in or not. And that's going to drag on certainly months, if not quarters ahead. There may be an extension of overall deadlines that's possible, but that doesn't clarify matters. It just makes them more uncertain. So I think net, what this means is that the bank is probably going to have to pause, if not after the one hike in November, then maybe after one more, and eventually probably will have to reverse its decision.